Hey everyone, this is Jeff, aboard Freedom at 60. As you can see, we're in the Bahamas right now, and we're on our way down towards Grenada. We'll be working through all the Caribbean islands on our way down there. Don't plan on being there till July-ish, June or July. Anyways, this is our follow-up of all the upgrades that we promised that we were going to show everybody. I didn't want to put this video out until we had time, which we're over 8 months now, and miles, which is over 4,000 miles now on the boat after all the upgrades were finished. In this video, I'm going to go through all the upgrades, what we liked, what we would do different, if anything, and how everything worked out. Enjoy.
This whole project was built around one simple goal. When I'm sitting in a beautiful bay, the only thing I want to worry about is running out of rum. And honestly, the guys at Rigged Right Marine and RV nailed it. One of my biggest concerns going into this was that the setup might look a little, well, redneck if it wasn't done perfectly. So John and I spent a ton of time designing the layout to look as clean and factory as possible, and to also serve a functional purpose, giving us great shade at the same time. We ended up with a total of 10 solar panels. 9 of them, adding up to 4,050 watts, feed the 48-volt system, and one 450-watt panel feeds the 12-volt system. Rigged Right's philosophy was simple: avoid unnecessary step-up or step-down conversions, so the system stays as reliable and fail-safe as possible. As you can see, they integrated everything beautifully into the lines of the boat. Their welder designed and built the rear section of the arch, and the team sealed between the panels and bolted them together, making the array completely watertight. The welder also made the whole structure look factory and even incorporated the freezer as part of the seating, which has become my favorite spot while trolling. Form and function at its best. We put a lot of thought into placement and ultimately decided that all the Victron components would be best installed in the old battery compartment under the seat. That kept everything protected, accessible, and organized. In that space, we've got 2 Victron Quattro 5,000 seconds, 3 Victron 150, 60 TR smart solar controllers, Victron Shunt, Victron Servo GX, Victron Lynx 1000. 4 computer fans, although the system barely gets warm thanks to Rigged Right's custom open back mounts that space the units off the wall and allow all the wiring to run cleanly behind. We wanted the batteries, 4 lifetime 48-volt lithium units, as close as possible to the rest of the equipment, and the compartment under the aft seat turned out to be the perfect spot. After running this system for 8 months, I'm honestly blown away by its efficiency. During our summer cruise up to the Chesapeake and back, we ran the air conditioning all night and still woke up with 50+% remaining. By early afternoon, never later than 2 p.m., we'd be back at 100%, even while running both freezers all day. They're on a Wi-Fi breaker that shuts them off at night. I decided not to install alternator chargers from the engines because I didn't think we'd need them, and we haven't. We wake up every morning at 70% or better, and the system tops off to 100% by noon. That's one less thing to maintain or troubleshoot, and it's been flawless. This was especially important because our plan is to head all the way down to Grenada and spend the next infinite years exploring the Southern Caribbean. So for us, form and function were equally critical. We started by ripping out the original nav station, which always felt like wasted space. Rigged Right brought in a cabinet maker who built a custom 3-drawer full pull-out cabinet with locking latches. He also added a door on the end for cutting boards, which has turned out to be the perfect storage spot. Next up was the makeup counter in the master. They removed it, added 3 drawers and 3 cubbies, then reinstalled the original countertop. They did such a fantastic job that it looks completely stock. I also really disliked the original table. It was hard to get around and honestly just wasn't very appealing. The same cabinet maker built a new teak table with folding sides and a gorgeous inlay. It completely changed the feel of the space. Once all that was done, we had a pile of extra parts lying around, so I jumped in myself. I built a catch-all drawer behind the new cabinet on the port side and had a countertop made for the top of it. I also reused the top from the old nav station to build a new storage area behind the dining space. That's now where we keep all our computer gear. It even has power inside, which makes charging everything super easy and keeps the clutter down. We also pulled out the stove and cooktop because I hated how the gas would heat up the entire inside of the boat, especially after a long, hot day. The cabinet maker built a clean door to cover the old stove opening. And now we use our Ninja grill, instant pot, and portable cooktops instead. Countertops were one of the easier parts once we found someone willing to come out and measure, since the color we wanted was a stock Formica. We also removed the useless upstairs grill and had a new countertop made for that whole area, extending it slightly and adding a larger rear lip. It created the perfect spot for our Woodfire Ninja grill, which works way better and has far more functionality than the original setup. Starting off with the refrigerator, when we brought this boat back from Tortola, BVI, to Palmetto, Florida in the summer of 2024, I realized pretty quickly that the factory double drawer fridge setup just wasn't going to cut it. I knew we needed a real refrigerator in that space, so I spent a few months measuring, comparing models, and figuring out exactly what would fit. We ended up going with a standard household refrigerator, and honestly, it's one of my top 3 upgrades on the entire boat. It's more efficient than the marine models, far cheaper for the size, and just works better overall. Rigged Right jumped in, tore out the old system, cut the countertop, moved all the electronics to the side of the original box, and fit the new fridge perfectly. They added tiebacks for rough, crossings, and door locks for everyday use. Now when we stop somewhere to provision, we have all the space we need. Next up is the laundry setup, which is probably co-captain Belinda's favorite upgrade. She can do laundry anywhere now, and when we're on the hook, she just hangs everything to dry. A full load only takes about 35 minutes. Such a game changer for living aboard. The freezers are another key part of the system. Yes, they're a little power hungry, but that's exactly why we built such a large solar setup. And let me tell you, having them has been incredible. We've been out of the US for over a month now, and it's such a relief not having to worry about meat. It's expensive and hard to find in the Bahamas, and it's going to be that way for most of the trip. Puerto Rico will probably be the only place we can fully restock. Even with all the fish, conch, and lobster we keep adding, we're running out of room. As someone who has lived to fish most of his life, these upgrades were absolute must-haves. First up was the filet station. I knew I'd be using it constantly, so I had it custom built specifically for the spot it sits in, with extra height to make it comfortable for me. It works fantastic for cleaning fish, but it's also become a great area for entertaining, cooking, and even prepping lines before a long day offshore. The bait well was another great add-on. It's perfect for those nights when we find live bait, and I've also used it as a bleed-out tank after catching fish. It makes cleanup so much easier. On top of all that, it just looks incredible. Rigged Right knocked this one straight out of the park. I also wanted more tackle storage. The fridge upstairs never kept anything cold, and we had plenty of room downstairs, so we tore the upstairs one out and I built custom drawers in its place. Way more useful for how we actually fish. The fighting station came off another boat. Rigged Right sanded it down, had their upholstery lady redo the cushions, and added new Gemlux rod holders. It turned into an awesome spot for stand-up fishing, super solid and super functional. And of course, the ladder. I've always had big ladders on my fishing catamarans because we spend so much time in the water. This one might be a little overkill, but honestly, what the hell, it makes getting in and out of the water an absolute breeze, and I wouldn't have it any other way. are some of the smaller upgrades Rigged Right did that really made the boat pop. When we first got the boat, I absolutely hated the white vinyl ceilings. I was constantly cleaning them, and the whole whitewashed factory look just felt plain and boring. Then we ended up with a leak from the upper drain that came straight through the lower ceiling, so we had to open that area up anyway. Let me tell you, the factory clearly had no intention of anyone ever removing that ceiling. They used the same adhesive they used to bond the decks together. Getting it down was a serious project, but would I do it again? 100% yes. The new look is warmer, nicer, easier to clean, and barely needs any attention at all. Once the downstairs ceiling was finished, I was determined to redo the upstairs as well. While inspecting it, I discovered a big unused void up there, so we took full advantage. We built a tucked away rod rack, added colorful lighting, and created a ton of bonus storage that didn't exist before. Next, I decided to paint the tables and the hardtop uprights to tie the whole color scheme together. Rigged Right's upholstery lady is phenomenal. She redid all the cushions, including the dining area, and they came out fantastic. She also made the front sunshade, which was my idea, and it turned out amazing. It has a tent-style zipper right down the middle for easy access. She used new snaps, which are magnetic fasteners. They're super easy to take on and off, but hold tight in rough weather. Then she made new eyebrow shades to match the updated look. I also spent time hunting down little dead spaces throughout the boat and turning them into useful storage. Above the cabinet in the master, we built 2 in-wall compartments, one for my power tools and one for a medicine cabinet. On the opposite side of the hall, I found a big empty void under the sink. I cut in a hatch, built a false floor, and turned it into a perfect dry storage area for all my camera gear. Even the space under the floor between the 2 beds, accessible from the master side, became storage for spare pumps, parts, and even Christmas lights. Sure, it's not the easiest area to reach, but it's ideal for stuff we only need once in a while. We also added a waterproof access hatch on the front deck to get behind the laundry machine. That space turned into excellent storage for all the dock lines and fenders. With hangers added, it's now organized, clean, and incredibly easy to access. One thing we did while adding all this storage was create a Google Sheet that shows exactly where everything is. That way we're not spending hours searching for one tool, cable, or fitting. Total game changer. When we came home from the BVIs, I realized pretty quickly that I didn't love how much I had to squint at the helm. Vision is one of the first things to go, and I knew I wanted a larger main display and an additional screen down at the electrical panel so we could monitor everything from there as well. Rigged Right told us they had a fabrication shop that could build a custom acrylic dash, so we mocked up a new layout. The end result was exactly what I wanted. 3 Raymarine axioms, a fusion head unit, a Raymarine autopilot control head, all new illuminated push-button switches, and the Yanmar gauge. While we were working on the redesign, we noticed there was a ton of wasted space under the console. That led to the decision to add an access hatch at the end, and that meant relocating the fuse panel, which honestly had been in a terrible spot from the factory. Getting to it before required being part contortionist. With the new hatch and the fuse panel moved, everything became easier, better access, cleaner wiring, and extra storage. They even added a light inside so it's workable at night. I now keep 2 buckets of tools in there, and everything is simple to reach. The final upgrade at the helm was a small storage charging station on the front side of the dash. They wired it to a switch so it doesn't have constant power running to it, which will help the connections last longer. It has 6 USB ports, and we keep all our remotes in there. It's one of those small changes that makes everyday life on the boat so much better. We decided to add a new generator on board, something we didn't technically need, but since we planned to be gone for an extended period, it made sense to tackle it before leaving. Peace of mind is everything when you're living on the water. We also realized we really didn't need the big 9.5 kW Northern Lights genset, so we swapped it for a lighter, quieter Haguro 6.5 kW. It still runs everything we need with zero struggle. When we do run the generator to charge the batteries, it brings the system up about 25% per hour. So even from a fully dead bank, we're topped off in roughly 4 hours. An extra bonus was being able to sell the Northern Lights unit before we pulled it out. This let us show the buyer it was running perfectly, which helped offset the upgrade cost. In the end, it was a smooth swap and has given us a ton of confidence and peace of mind. This last list is a mix of nice to haves and a few absolute must-do upgrades. We'll start with the marine mat flooring. We've had this on several boats and absolutely love it. The comfort, how easy it is to keep clean, the non-slip traction, and the fact that it still looks clean even when it's a little dirty. Hull shield has become standard on our boats too. It hasn't disappointed. The only thing we ever had to clean off was that green beard of growth we picked up in the Chesapeake. The Spectra water maker worked flawlessly on our trip home, but we knew it wouldn't be used during the entire summer up north. So Rigged Right pulled the system before we left, and I ended up taking a class that Halden Marine in Fort Lauderdale offers. I signed myself and John from Rigged Right up. The class was extremely informative, and we made several upgrades, new fittings to avoid dissimilar metals, a better freshwater flush, a newer boost pump, and a few other touches. The system should run better and last much longer now. The Dometic variable speed AC was another big improvement. It makes the whole system far more efficient when running off solar. With a button push, we can take the 18K BTU unit down to 10K BTU in 2K steps. That lets us run the air all night off the battery bank and still wake up with 40+% remaining. Now, I'm a bit of a music junkie, and when I decide to pump up the volume, I want clean, crisp sound with great bass. We kept the original Fusion head unit, but added 3 SCAR amps, 6 JL Audio 8 seconds, and 1 JL Audio 12-inch sub. We don't crank it often, but when we do, man, it sounds incredible. When we upgraded the refrigerator and moved the electronics to the side wall, we needed a new home for the TV. Rigged Right found a mount that folds the TV up into the ceiling when not in use and folds it down so you can watch from the outside table. When we redid the upstairs, I wanted another one up there. The same brand made a rotating version which worked perfectly. The power rotation eventually stopped working, but we just move it by hand now. We keep a cover on it and cut power to both the TV and the mount so nothing sits energized in the salty air. The ice maker was something we added for our BVI to home trip. We haven't bought a bag of ice since. I've owned built-ins before, and when they break, it's a pain to find another that fits the same cutout, so we stayed with the standalone, and we're very happy we did. The boat came with downward-facing underwater lights, but I wanted more and didn't want to haul the boat just to add them. I've partnered with Seasucker Marine for years and Chuck, the owner, and I came up with a great idea, suction cup underwater lights. Stick them on the transom when you want them, pull them off and store them when you don't. No holes in the hull, the plug stays well above the water line, and it's on a switch to keep salt air off the contact. And they look fantastic at night. We also met the guy who developed new snaps when we were in Charleston, and we fell in love with them immediately. Now that we've added them to our cushions, especially the ones covering storage, it's a total game changer. No more fighting snaps, just pull off and push on. They find themselves automatically. When we got to the dock in Florida, I noticed our 30 amp cords were getting warm when we were pulling a lot of juice. Rigged Right suggested switching to a 50 amp cord and a smart plug on the boat side. I said go for it. The connection is vastly better and the cord never even gets warm now. And last but not least, the 12-inch memory foam mattress. Gotta keep the Admiral happy. It's just a standard queen and it fits perfectly. No trimming, no modifications, nothing.
Good morning, everyone. Jeff at Freedom Met 60. In closing, we've included a link in the description that takes you to a spreadsheet. I put together with most everything that we've used on this boat throughout the build. After more than 8 months on the boat, I can honestly say there's not a single thing I wish that we had done differently. We've now been in the Bahamas for over 50 days and still have a great stock of meat. We've only run the generator one single time, and that was during a time of cloudy weather. We haven't plugged into shore power since we've been here. We are generally living the dream and absolutely love the people and places we've experienced so far. And the crazy part, this is just the beginning. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share our page. I'm always happy to help anyone with questions about the build, and Rigged Right can help as well. Their email is in the description. And remember, you can always make more money, but at the end of the day, you cannot buy more time. Have a great one, and get out and enjoy this weather.